Welcome to the Toffee Blues, your source for all things Everton, and welcome to my match reaction to Everton 0, Sheffield United 2. What can you say about that performance? It was an absolute disgrace. Everton were comfortably dealt with by a newly promoted side on their own patch. We didn't threaten at all. Sheffield United looked as if they were going to snatch a 1-0 win with what was their own. They didn't have any shots on target. It was an own goal from Yerry Mina which gave Sheffield the lead, and despite the fact that they hadn't had a shot on target, they were still good value for that because we were absolutely dreadful today. The second goal came about because Lys Mousset, the Sheffield United striker, made a run in behind and no one followed him. No one looked like they could be bothered. Again, we spoke about this in the Bournemouth game last week. We were expecting a response today, but there was no response. If anything, this was worse than Bournemouth last week. Last week, we may well have been down to poor defender, but we looked absolutely lifeless again. There is no invention, there's no creativity, there's no movement off the ball from any of our players at this moment in time, and it's just hard to see where we go from here because it's easy to say Silva out, such a person out. You know, we've sacked managers left, right, and centre for the past 3 years, and it hasn't changed one inkling. It's just hard to see how we're going to correct these problems and where do these problems stem from, because you can change the personnel, you can change the manager, you can change the coaching staff. What has to change to see us improve and kick on? Because if anything, we look far worse than we did last season, and it's really, really concerning. We've just been beaten at home by a newly promoted side. We're well in the bottom half. Manchester City is our next league game. We could easily be in the relegation zone by the end of September. It's really, really concerning, and Marco Silva needs to do everything he can to address this. I mean, I think he did. It may well have picked the wrong team today, Marco Silva, I think. But in fairness to Silva, I thought he did his best to try and correct it. He brought on substitutes early, a lot earlier than he did against Bournemouth. He tried to salvage something, but he can't compensate for what was a completely disinterested performance from all of his players today. I think there's no one player who can say had a good game today. It was absolutely disgraceful. I think there's a couple of players in particular who would like to single out for criticism, to be quite honest with you. I think Gylfi Sigurdsson's been disgraceful so far this season. It's particularly today when the chips are down, you're looking to one of your, arguably your most gifted player to try and change something, and he's not even showing for the ball at any time. Alex Iwobi come on and was ineffective again. He moved into the centre, he couldn't get on the ball. No one was showing for the ball. None of the strikers were holding the ball up. None of our wingers were taking players on. It's absolutely disgraceful. Where do you turn now? What does Silva have to do? He has to start giving some other players a go, even if they're not as good. They might have a bit of fight in them. Tom Davies, for instance. I know he's not flavour of the month, but even Calvert-Lewin, at least he shows a bit of fight. This was absolutely terrible. There's got to be a change. I don't think changing the manager is the answer. We need to stick with Silva and see if he can turn this around. Give him a bit longer, because sacking him right now isn't going to achieve anything. We don't really want to become that revolving door that we have been for so long, and since Moshiri took over as owner of Everton, really. And it has to come from the players. The players have to try harder. They have to go back to basics at times. It's not a difficult game, football. You've got to sometimes just have a bit of guts to take a player on. You put a bit more commitment in as well. I think Sheffield United, as Bournemouth were last week, again, wanted this more than we did, and there's no excuse for that. I said it's bad enough away from home, but we were at home today. We have to win home games, and we have to show our fans how committed we are. It's just not good enough. So where do we go from here? It's just hard to see a way back, and we could be in for a really long, difficult season here, because we can't keep sacking the manager. I think we have to stick with the manager unless things get really severe. But yet, I can't see us getting out of this mess at the moment, and it's hard to see how we can bounce back. The only solace is we've got a quick turnaround. We've got Sheffield Wednesday away in the League Cup, but I'm not even confident for that at the moment. I'm very convinced they'll knock us out of the Cup on Wednesday. I don't see what this team's got to trouble even a Championship team at the moment. It's just absolutely ridiculous. So of course, we have to just cross our fingers at this stage and see how we get on against Sheffield Wednesday, and hopefully we can move on in the cup progress, and that might just lift everybody a little bit, and it might be our way of bouncing back. Because that's the only thing we can look ahead to now. This has got to be forgotten as quickly as possible, because it was just not good enough in any way, shape or form. So there you have it. Everton 0, Sheffield United 2. Let us know your opinions on the game. I think it's pretty obvious what most people's opinions will be on this game, but by all means drop us a comment on this video, and like and subscribe to the channel as well if you want more of me ranting, basically. But yeah, be sure to check out my opposition view show against with Dan Fudge from the Wednesday week. He's going to be tuning in with me tomorrow to discuss Sheffield Wednesday, and no doubt discuss how his arch rivals just done us in. So be sure to check that out. That'll be coming up around tomorrow night. And also tune in for all the other great content here on the Toffee Blues. So again, guys, thanks for tuning in. It's not the best time to tune into an Everton show, I suppose, but what can you do? So there you have it. Just tune in next time on the Toffee Blues. Thanks for watching, guys.